What if I told you that for less than $40,000 you could buy a boat capable of sailing around the world? That's right. Seaworthy, ocean-crossing, storm-tested vessels that won't drain your life savings. Whether you're planning your great escape or just dreaming of distant horizons, today we're diving into 10 of the best budget Bluewater sailboats that punch far above their price tag. The Pearson 365 has long been a favorite among coastal cruisers and ocean dreamers alike. What makes her special isn't flashy design or speed. It's practicality. She was built between the mid-70s and early 80s, and you'll still find many of them plugging along happily today. This is a center cockpit design, which gives you a private aft cabin, a huge bonus on a boat under 40 feet. The cockpit itself is high and safe, and the decks are easy to move around on. Down below, she's cozy but surprisingly spacious. There's a proper galley, a roomy salon, and plenty of ventilation thanks to numerous opening ports and hatches. With over 4,000 pounds of ballast and a solid hull, the Pearson 365 handles blue water conditions with confidence, though she's definitely more of a cruiser than a racer. Her systems are simple, which is a blessing when you're out where the nearest parts store is across an ocean. Maintenance access is good, and there's enough storage for serious provisioning. You can find one in decent shape for under 40 grand, and with a little work, she'll take you just about anywhere. I've met a few cruisers who circled the globe in one. The Southern Cross 31 might be one of the most underrated blue water boats ever built. She's a rugged little vessel that punches way above her size class. Designed by Tom Gilmer and built in the US by C.E. Ryder, she features a full keel, a cutter rig, and a canoe stern. All features you'd expect from a much larger offshore cruiser. This boat was built with true offshore intent. Her hull is solid fiberglass and the deck is balsa cord, but well done. She displaces around 13,000 pounds and carries nearly 5,000 pounds of ballast, which gives her incredible stability in rough seas. A lot of people don't expect a boat under 35 feet to handle heavy ocean work so well, but the Southern Cross 31 has a proven track record. Below decks, she's compact but very functional. You'll find a simple V-berth forward, a small head, and a saloon that makes good use of the limited space. Storage is smartly laid out, and her motion at sea is kind and predictable. This is the kind of boat that'll bring you home, even if the weather turns foul. Perfect for a solo sailor or a determined couple with a dream. The Tayana 37. Now this is a boat with a bit of soul. Designed by Bob Perry, she's the stuff of cruising legend. Over 1,000 were built, mostly in Taiwan, and many of them have sailed across oceans and around the world more than once. You see one anchored in some far-flung tropical bay, and you just know there's a story behind her. She's a heavy displacement full-keel cruiser with a cutter rig, and she was designed with serious passage-making in mind. The deck layout is smart, the cockpit deep and secure, and the teak work, well, there's a lot of it. You'll either love the maintenance or curse it, but there's no denying her classic beauty. Inside, she's got a warm, traditional feel, with lots of wood, cozy berths, and a galley that's easy to use underway. The layout works beautifully for a couple or small crew planning long voyages. She's not fast in light air, but she's steady and sea kindly in a blow. You can still find solid examples for under 40 grand if you're willing to do some sweat equity. And once you've got her seaworthy, the world is truly your oyster. She was built for blue water, and she knows her way around it. The Slocum 43 is what I like to call a salty, old soul of a boat. Built primarily in Taiwan during the late 70s and 80s, she's a full-keel, cutter-rigged cruiser with serious world cruising pedigree. You just don't see too many boats this size, with this kind of construction and seakeeping ability, in the under 40 grand range anymore. What stands out right away is the canoe stern and the heavy displacement. She's built to take on the open ocean, not just putter around the bay. With over 30,000 pounds of displacement and a keel-stepped mast, she's a tank in a sea of tin cans. That means a slow and steady ride, but one you can trust when the wind howls and the seas build. Below decks, she's a true liveaboard, roomy, comfortable, with beautiful teak joinery and a proper navigation station. The galley is sea-friendly, and there's storage galore for long passages. These boats often come loaded with gear from previous owners, many of whom sailed far and wide. She's not the easiest boat to find, and most need a bit of work, but for the sailor chasing adventure over speed, the Slocum 43 is a worthy ship. Now, here's one you don't hear about too often, the Yorktown 39. Built on the west coast of the US, mostly in the 70s and early 80s, she was part of that DIY era when folks wanted solid boats they could sail away or finish themselves. As a result, some of these boats are rough around the edges, but the bones are good, real good. She's a solid fiberglass hull with a long fin keel and a skeg-hung rudder, a great compromise between performance and seaworthiness. The deck layout is straightforward, and the cockpit is roomy enough for a small crew to stretch out. At 39 feet, she's big enough for comfortable long-term living, but still manageable for a solo sailor or cruising couple. Inside, it's a bit of a mixed bag depending on how the interior was finished. Some were factory-built, others owner-completed, but the layout usually includes a spacious salon, a good-sized galley, and a big aft cabin, rare in boats from this era. You can pick one up cheap, really cheap, and with a bit of elbow grease, have yourself a capable blue water cruiser for less than the price of a new SUV. It's an honest boat for honest sailors. The Valiant 40 isn't just a budget cruiser, it's a legend. Designed by Bob Perry in the early 70s, this was one of the first true performance cruisers. She combined the speed and handling of a racer with the safety and comfort of a blue water boat. That was revolutionary at the time, and honestly, it still is. She's a fast, fin-keeled, skeg-rudder boat with graceful lines and a powerful cutter rig. Under sail, she's lively and responsive, a real joy when you've got miles to cover, and she's proven herself over and over with dozens of circumnavigations and ocean crossings under her keel. Now, there's a catch. Early models from the 70s had a resin issue, the infamous blister boats. But if you find one that's been repaired properly, and many have, you can snag a serious passage maker for a bargain. Below decks, she's functional and traditional, with good storage, a secure galley, and a proper sea berth. If you want a boat that sails like a dream and doesn't shy away from heavy weather, the Valiant 40 is your girl. Just do your homework and maybe a moisture test. The Rasmus 35 is one of those boats that just makes you feel safe. Built by Hallberg Rassy in Sweden in the late 60s and early 70s, she was ahead of her time. She came with a windshield, imagine that, and a center cockpit design that made long passages a lot more comfortable than most of her peers. With her full keel and moderate displacement, she's slow and steady, not a sprinter, but built to get you there. She's also got a beautiful sheer and a strong presence under sail. I've seen them in the Caribbean, in the Med, and all over the US coasts, always quietly doing their thing, keeping their crews safe and dry. Below deck, it's classic Scandinavian charm, simple, efficient, and warm. There's plenty of woodwork, a practical layout, and surprising storage for a boat of her age and size. She's a cozy liveaboard with great visibility and ventilation, and her systems are usually straightforward to maintain. You can find them for reasonable prices, especially in Europe, and they're often in solid condition thanks to quality construction. The Rasmus 35 is an old-school cruiser that just works. No drama, just steady miles under the keel. The Westsail 32, the boat that launched 1,000 dreams, and a fair number of circumnavigations too. Built like a tank in the 70s, this full-keeled, heavy-displacement cruiser became the symbol of the back-to-the-sea movement. She's slow, yes, but she'll take you through just about anything short of a tsunami. The Westsail 32 is a double-ender, inspired by Colin Archer's Norwegian rescue boats, and she's got serious blue-water chops. You'll find massive construction, thick fiberglass hulls, big bronze fittings, and stout rigging. She's not nimble, but she'll keep going when the going gets rough. Inside, she's small for her length. Let's not sugarcoat that, but what space she has is used well, with a traditional layout, a seaworthy galley, and room for a couple to live aboard full-time. Plenty of these were sold as kits, so interiors vary wildly, but that just adds to their personality. You can still find one for under 40 grand, though she might need some love. But for the sailor who values strength over speed, the Westsail 32 is a mighty little ship with a big heart. The Southern Cross 35 is the bigger sibling of the 31, and it brings the same rugged charm but with more room and even more capability offshore. Another Tom Gilmer design, she features a full keel, a heavy displacement, and that same distinctive canoe stern that seems to cut through waves like a knife through butter. She's got just under 20,000 pounds of displacement, so you're getting a real sense of heft underfoot. That translates into comfort at sea. She's not going to bounce around like a dinghy when the waves pick up. Instead, she settles into a groove and keeps moving forward, steady and true. Down below, the extra length makes a big difference. There's more elbow room, better storage, and space to stretch out. The galley's decent, and the salon feels just cozy enough to feel like home on a long passage. Many came well equipped from the start, so it's not uncommon to find wind vanes, solar setups, and long-haul upgrades already installed. She's a rare find these days, but if you spot one in good shape, snap it up. The Southern Cross 35 is a real sailor's boat. No fluff, just blue water capability. Last but not least, the Baba 30, a little jewel of a cruiser that just oozes character. She's a full-keeled, cutter-rigged beauty with a heart full of wanderlust. Don't let her 30-foot length fool you. This is a boat built to go the distance. With over 12,000 pounds of displacement and gorgeous hand-laid teak throughout, the Baba 30 feels like a much bigger boat. She's also surprisingly nimble for a full-keel cruiser, and she sails sweetly in a breeze, especially with that cutter rig giving you lots of sail plan options. The interior is where she really shines. It's all warm wood, cozy corners, and clever storage. Everything has its place, and it's laid out in a way that just makes sense for life at sea. There's even a little wood stove in some of them, perfect for those chilly nights at anchor in northern latitudes. You'll find many well-cared-for examples out there, often babied by owners who knew they had something special. If you want a boat with soul, style, and the chops to cross oceans, the Baba 30 is a fine way to end this list. Small boat, big dreams. And there you have it, 10 solid, budget-friendly blue water boats that have already taken countless sailors across oceans. They might be older and need a little love, but they've got the bones, the soul, and the track record to get you anywhere on the planet. The best part? You don't need a fortune to get started. Just some grit, some know-how, and a dream. So, if one of these boats speaks to you, don't wait. The sea is calling and adventure is out there. Fair winds, my friend. See you out there.